Hello everybody, it is Professor Parish and we are in week 5. Week 5, only this week and then 3 more to go. Insanity, right? So as of right now, as I'm recording this video, I have graded everything from week 4, so your grades should all be up to date. If you do want to revise your paper number 2, then when we go to here to the announcements section, let me see if I put it on here when you can turn that revision in. It does not say on it. I'm going to actually change this week. Let me put in here like week 7. If you're going to revise, you've got until, let's say week 6. You've got till week 6 if you're going to revise in terms of that. So I will put something on week 6 here of when you can turn in revisions for paper 2. That's going to be there because I do want to give you time to revise paper 3 as well. So for the most part, everybody did really good on paper 2, but if you had some grammar errors, if you need to add some more content, then you get a couple weeks to kind of do that, and then you can email me your revisions by July 14th. But otherwise, we're going to chug right into week 5 where we introduce narration. Now for me, I honestly think that narration is probably the easiest paper out of our class because you can use narration to draw from personal experience. You can write about stuff that's happened to you. And typically the rule of thumb is that it is easier to write about things that you're familiar with than things that you're not. So what is more familiar to write about than about yourself or about a friend or family member or community? So we only have 3 assignments this week. The first one is the discussion forum for week 5. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and show you all what that looks like. So we do have a video to watch with this discussion forum. It's a little bit different than what we've done in the past. This video is a bit longer. It's 25 minutes long, but I picked it because I really like the topic and I really like the person that's presenting it. So her name is Lindsay Ellis. She does different videos analyzing different things in literature, and this specific one is looking at what we call revisionist history, which is where history is rewritten from a certain perspective. And she's actually looking at the Disney Corporation and Mary Poppins and how revisionist history happens through Mary Poppins to the recent movie Saving Mr. Banks. So it's a really good video. It's interesting. Disney is kind of a mega corporation that's in our society and culture, whether we like it or not. So I'm always interested in seeing certain viewpoints of it, and this definitely does that. So what I want you to do for this discussion forum is first watch the video, and it is 25 minutes long, so just plan that block of time to watch it, and then answer the 3 questions in detail below for your response. And your responses are due by Friday, and as always, the peer responses are due by Sunday. So your post answering these questions due Friday, responses due Sunday. And that's our discussion forum. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. I really like this video. It's I chose it because I think it's a nice fun tie-in to talking about revisionist history, to talk about memoirs, to talk about personal writing. That kind of connects to narration, which is what we're doing this week. Grammar number 4 is due Sunday. And I'll open it up so you all can see what it looks like. Doot. It is taking notes from pages 498 to 500 in our book. So page 495 to 499, we're talking about adjectives and adverbs, which confuse a lot of people, but honestly, they're not hard, especially adjectives. Adjectives are easy. All an adjective is, or an adjective, however you want to say it, an adjective modifies or possesses a noun. So if I say I have reddish hair, reddish is the adjective because it's describing my hair. Or if I say I have square glasses, square is the adjective because it's describing my glasses. So pretty much adjectives are easy to spot because anytime you look at a sentence, you can pick out the noun, and usually the words describing that noun are right next to it. So if it says like the Sears Tower, well, Sears Tower is a noun because it's a proper noun. But if I say the tall Sears Tower, tall is going to be my adjective, right? So adjectives, our book on page 495 to 497, it goes over adjectives fairly well, gives you a refresher course. I feel like most students can easily pinpoint adjectives once they figure out where they're looking at. Adverbs give us a little bit more trouble, but there are some hints to help you figure out where adverbs come into play. Adverbs do the exact same thing as adjectives, except instead of describing nouns, they describe verbs and other adverbs. They kind of are a dual purpose type of word. So the trick is, and the easy way for me to spot adverbs is look for ly. If something has an ly ending, it's probably an adverb. Like you were readily available. Readily is an adverb. If I say I am largely popular, or if it was largely added, or something to that effect, that's an adverb. Okay, so in our textbook again describes and gives you some examples of adverbs. So activity 2 and activity 3 are just 5 each. You just basically write down the correct adverb or adjective, and then this second activity here, you put down whether it's well or good that should be the answer. So that should be pretty easy. Page 499, you're choosing the correct word or phrase. Number 6 through 10 are extra credit, so please take advantage of that. A lot of you did that in the last assignment, which was awesome. Thank you. That extra credit is always welcome. And then finally, we have activity number 3, which is you write down the correct word with the apostrophe and its placing. So activities 3 and 4 are dealing with apostrophes, which are talked about on page 530 and 531. And the big thing with apostrophes is that it shows possession. It shows that we own something. The only time we don't use an apostrophe in a possessive word is for its. And the only reason we don't use an apostrophe is because if we did, it would be like the conjunction it is. Because it is it apostrophe s. It's like its flair or its size. It does not have an apostrophe in that case because we can't do it, otherwise it becomes it is. So there is a segment in our book that talks about that, and if you have any questions on this grammar assignment, by all means, feel free to ask me. Bring your textbook. I'm going to be in my office this week in the mornings all day tomorrow on Tuesday, and then I'll be in there the afternoon on Wednesday, so until 4:30. So if you need to come and ask questions, or if you want to call or email, go ahead and do that. Absolutely. And I will be happy to help you any way I can. I'm not going to give you the answer, but I'm going to help you to try to find it. And that's the grammar assignment. So little activities, there's several activities, but they're very short, so they shouldn't take you too long to get through. And everybody is doing solid on the grammar assignments, so you make me feel good that you guys know what you're doing. So yeah, we've just got our discussion forum, a grammar assignment, and our writing prep for narration. So I tried to keep it a little simple this week because I know it's 4th of July week and everybody has plans. So the final thing that's due Sunday is our narration prep. Like I said, narration is just the act of telling a story about yourself, someone you know, someone in your community, things like that. I'll show the guidelines to you here. Basically, chapter 15 in our textbook is all about narration, so if you haven't read chapter 15, be sure to look at it this week, because I do believe our textbook does an exceptional job of previewing the various genres of writing that we do. So same point breakdown as before, same thing for your outline, your thesis. You can write about an event that's happened to you in the first person. You can write about it as if it's in the third person. You can write about a family member, a friend. No one's going to read these except me, so just make sure it's college appropriate. I've read a lot of different narrations. A lot of people like writing about broken bones for some reason, which I think is kind of funny. It's something traumatic that happens. We want to talk about it. We want to share it with someone. And so this becomes a way to do that. So I've read a lot of papers about broken bones. I've read a lot of papers about people giving birth. I've read a lot of papers about sports victories or losses and what they've learned from them. And I've read stories about communities and other family members and friends that had a story to tell. That's kind of the cool thing about narration. It's all about telling a story and giving us something that we can kind of latch onto as readers and really appreciate. about that story. So that's pretty much narration. If you do want an example, a student brought it to my attention that we didn't have a resource example of a narration paper. We do now. So if you go to our resources page and you scroll down to week 5, I'm going to get that right here. We do have an example narration paper. Now I will go ahead and say that this narration paper is from my English 122 class. So it's 4 pages long, which the page minimum is 3 pages as our guidelines state. But if you're like, oh, this paper is a lot, it's from English 122, so don't panic. But I do think it's an awesome example of a narration paper, and I'm really excited to be able to show it to you all. So he did a really good job on it. So I've scrubbed his name off of it, but if you're from Carmire or wherever, you may know who this student is. But yeah, it's a good story. I really like it. And they did a very excellent job of putting together their thoughts and dialogue and different structures of the story together into a nice, seamless piece of literature. So that is the example right there that you can view in our resources to get a better idea of what the paper should look like. But yeah, that's pretty much it this week. Just 3 assignments. I know you all probably have holiday plans for Thursday and this weekend, so if you get a chance to get things done ahead of time, feel free to do so. But otherwise, I am excited to read your work. I have your papers. This last compare and contrast paper was awesome. You guys knocked it out of the park, and I know you're going to do that for this narration paper. So as always, if you have questions, please feel free to let me know. But otherwise, have a great week, have a great holiday, and a fantastic weekend. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye.